I think it was a couple weeks ago. I can't remember which game it was after, but, Josh was asked about, how do you get out of a funk? And he said, sometimes it might just be simplifying things a little bit. And I'm curious, over the last couple of games, as your offense has really started to find some success, has that been in play at all, where maybe you've, tapered things back at all or simplified anything? And if so, how has that helped things?
No, I give credit to the guys going out there and executing. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. You prepare the best you can during the week. You go out there and you call the plays that you think are going to be successful. Some are successful, some aren't. But at the end of the day, this is a player's game. I give those guys a lot of credit. They bust their tails. They work extremely hard, and they're the ones out there making plays. We'll always do what we've done since I've been here. Is you try to put together a plan that you think is good for that opponent that week. Sometimes you'd like them to all work. There's certainly obstacles along the way throughout the game to game. We've talked about this before. I think resiliency is really important. It's the nature of the NFL that we're in. So we work hard every week to try to do the best we can to try to attack the things we need to attack and make adjustments throughout the game as we need to make them. But, ultimately, and I'll always say this, it's credit to the players that go out there and make the plays when they need to be made.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, lots been made of Gabriel the last couple of days. Big game on Sunday. I'm curious, what allows him to be so effective in the red zone? Obviously, the touchdowns are what they are, but it seems like, some guys, it seems, raise their level of play. Not that others don't, but it seems like he has a lot of success down there. Is there anything that he does specifically or about him that allows him to have success down there?
Well, he's big and he's got a good catch radius and he's got good hands. That always helps. The windows are a lot tighter. I mean, the two plays that he made yesterday, one was just a great throw and a great concentration catch by Josh there around the 20 or somewhere around there. And the next one, he just had to, make a play. We were kind of open there. So, again, he's a guy that's dependable. Matt, he does what he's supposed to do, but he does have a good catch radius. He's got good size. But I'd say it's not just the red zone. He's made a lot of plays for us since he's been here, and he'll need to continue to. He's always improving. I've spoke about this at length during training camp. I have a lot of confidence in him in terms of knowing our system, what's expected, but he's a great competitor for us, a guy we trust.
Respect on the handlebar. Thanks, Brian.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Hey, Thad. Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking. I wanted to ask, you've prepared for 1,000 NFL games in your career. What's different about this situation where not only are you playing the same team for the second time in 3 weeks, but your staff has been consistent for a long time. Their staff has been consistent for a long time. You'd think that both groups would know each other about as well as any two NFL coaching staffs can.
Yeah, not much. I mean, it's a division game. Have much respect for the players on the Patriots and for the coaching staff. They're as good as it gets, both of them. It's always a challenge the second time that you're playing a team during the season. But again, it's going to come down to, doing our best to try to come up with a good plan and then ultimately executing that plan. And, it'll be a challenging game. It's always challenging when you play this team. It's challenging when you play, second division games. So it'll take everybody's best.
Is it difficult to maybe avoid the need or the feel to try and go deep into the bag of tricks, come up with something crazy? And, you've talked about trying to simplify this offense that this team has for the last few weeks, but holding to that and saying, even though it's the same team we saw 3 weeks ago, do we want to go too deep in the bag to try and make an adjustment or come up with some crazy game plan for the second time?
Yeah, I think, look, again, I don't know. I don't think crazy is the right word. I just think, we're going to do what we always do, which is we're going to work hard today and tomorrow to try to, put together plays that we think will be successful against this team. And you're always going to have to adjust throughout the game. That team makes you do that quite often. And, at the end of the day, you're going to have to do the things that you think you need to do to try to win and go out there and execute. And that's what it's going to take against a good football team.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it.
You got it, Thad.
Hey, Brian, I want to go back to that throw you just mentioned, the throw on Josh's touchdown to Gabe's, the first touchdown. And I'm not trying to make Josh out to be a superhero or anything like that, but are there times where even maybe you look at the film, like I know I'm looking at the back angle there and I'm thinking, I have no idea how he knew he would even be there. But are you times where you even say, like, that's just not normal for an NFL quarterback to be able to do something like that and say, that's why he's special?
Yeah, I'm glad he's on our team. I have a lot of confidence in him. He's, whether it's in the run game or the pass game, I think he's got a good grasp of what we're trying to do. And again, I think he's confident in his abilities when he has an opportunity to make a throw like that. And, it really takes everybody. It's not just Josh, and he'll be the first one to tell you, you got to have some protection and the guys got to run good routes and end up ultimately finishing the play. He's made quite a few plays for us. 4 years he's been here with us. I think he's improved every year. And that just takes some time. It takes some chemistry amongst just him and the receivers to have the confidence to go ahead and pull the trigger when he pulls the trigger.
Then on the second touchdown pass to Gabe, it came on a 4th down. Is that something that you kind of have in your back pocket, your game plan for if you get the right situation and look, or is that something that you came up with as the game went on and say, you know what, they've been doing this in this situation? I guess I want to go back to how much you were prepared for that particular situation leading up to the game and had that ready to go.
Yeah, I think you have to prepare for that situation. We call it gotta have it plays. There's going to be, as the league has kind of evolved over these last few years, and 4th downs, you've been going for them more based on the field conditions or field position or weather or time of game. I think you always have to be prepared, and not just on a 4th and short, but maybe a 4th and longer, or the beginning part of the game, or whatever it may be. And all you can do is to research and prepare off the studies that you've done, throughout the year, of what they've done in those situations, or go back a couple of years to figure that out. And at the end of the day, you never know. They could show a tendency, Sale, of, they're always playing man-to-man coverage, and then bam, they play zone. And we're going to have to do a good job of reacting to things like that.
Hey, Coach, have a good Christmas week.
Okay, you too, Sal.
Coach Daboll, Mookie Arkansas, Waffle Sports Cincinnati. How you doing today?
Good, Mook. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. Yesterday, you got the news about Jon Feliciano's not being available right before game time. How much did that line switch affect certain plays you had planned, going into yesterday's matchup?
Well, that's why you have depth on your roster. Credit Brandon and Joe for that. The guys that are here, we have confidence in. Mook. Obviously, they're not all the same, but we have confidence. They wouldn't be here if we didn't. Whether they're on the practice squad or not. That's what you're always, trying to help improve those players, whether they're the last man on the roster on the practice squad, or your top guy, and call it Josh. You're trying to improve every single one of them and make sure they understand what we're trying to do. You give credit to all the assistant coaches that work extremely hard with those guys. Guys like Shay and Wendy and Mark Lubick and those guys that are working with practice squad guys, and Soph, and that you're a pro. You better be ready to go when your number's called, because we've all learned, I'd say, over the last 2 years, that you better be able to adapt and adjust, and be able to do it rather quickly. So really that's our approach. We've had plenty of things these last couple of years that come up, and I think you have to keep a cool head, a cool demeanor about yourself, put together a good plan as quick as you can, go out there with confidence in the players that you have, and try to put them in good position and make sure they're ready to go throughout the week.
Right. From Spencer Brown moving from right tackle to left tackle, that's not done every day. Just care to talk about how he was able to handle the switch. Yeah.
That's go back. We talk a lot about this in training camp. I know I get a lot of questions about, well, you guys like reporting where those guys are lined up and the differences. And he's at right guard and left guard and right tackle, not left tackle. And this guy played center. And, that's part of the plan. As you're going through, you only get so many, at a game, and the more you can have position flexibility, the better it'll serve you. So those guys, they've played a lot of positions for us, I'd say, since training camp or even OTAs. And that's why you do that, is to build depth and confidence when you have to make a switch like that. That's why we do it.
One more, Coach. Bill Belichick, for forever. I mean, it goes all the way back from Super Bowl 25 when he played against Jim Kelly and the K-Gun. His recipe: keep a high-powered offense off the field with a sound running game and defense, and that's kind of been like his recipe throughout. Probably one of the reasons why he ran 45 times the last meeting. But how will you be able to dictate tempo while balancing this offense the second time around, Coach?
I think just comes down to doing our job. I don't make it more than that. Everybody's got responsibilities, from the coaching staff to the players, and we work together with that. It's a team thing. We have to go out there and, as Sean puts it, do your 111th. Be a good communicator. Know the game plan. Go out there with positive energy and passion, and ultimately it comes down to executing when your number's called.
Absolutely, Coach. Good luck this week.
Thanks, Mook.
Hey, Brian, Mike, Catalana.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, look, I know every game you got to prepare the same, and it's the way you guys work. But, isn't this kind of what you sign up for, to be in games like this? I mean, it's you got to keep everything even, but I mean, it's for the division lead and all those things. It's a rematch and all. That sort of idea of this is what the NFL is about, and you get a shot like this, both, the rematch with them this week.
Yeah, I would just say meaningful games in December. If you're playing in those, that's where you want to be. They all count. They're all important, whether it's in September or not. But once you get down to it, you can see the way this league is right now. There's a lot of parity. Teams winning that nobody thinks can win, teams losing. I mean, it's just it's a highly competitive league. It's the best league there is in the world. Obviously blessed to be part of it. And, if it's competition you're looking for, and that's where December football games are, that's where they are, what they are. High competition level, usually some type of stakes at it. It'll be an important week.
Great. Thank you.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Hi, Elena. Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. I was just curious, Devin's snap count has gone up a lot, especially the last two games. And obviously we've talked a lot about him and the running backs, but is there anything specifically that we don't get to see that you've seen from him as of late that's made you had confidence in him or want to, involve him more in the offense? What has that looked like from your perspective?
Yeah, I think we've always had confidence in Devin. He's just been a consistent player for us. He's much, we talk about Dawson a lot. I think Boder's improved since he's been here a lot. He's a guy that we drafted, and each year he's gotten a little bit better. And, the job of running back is to make yards when you have the ball in your hand and know who to block and be able to block him, to simplify it as much as I can. He's certainly a guy that we have trusted. Thought he played a good game yesterday. Always things that we can get better at, but guys that we have a lot of confidence. I have a lot of confidence in.
Thanks.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, Julianne Pelusi, Channel 2. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I think Perino touched on this a little bit, but Gabriel Davis, he said that he thanked Josh Allen for trusting him after Emmanuel Sanders went down. He had a great game yesterday without Sanders, and clearly you trust him too. What has he done to earn that trust from both of you?
Well, I think just the way that he approaches his job. I just remember the Zoom meetings that we had with him, I'd say when he was in college, getting ready to enter the draft, the way he approached that, the way he was able to, pick up the material that we're teaching him. We always look for smart, tough, dependable guys. We place a premium on it. He's very smart. He's got really good toughness. He's been dependable for us since he's been here. Not just on the field, but off the field. He does the right thing. He's good in the community. He understands what we're trying to do. He knows all the positions. He's just, for a second-year player, I think he's, I'll say wise beyond his years, but certainly a guy that that we trust in the roles that we put them in. You got it.
Hi, Brian. Nick Fierro here. Want to ask about, I think you touched on this a little bit earlier, and certainly Spencer did yesterday. It was how tough of an adjustment is it at the last minute, basically, to go from the right side to the left side, especially for a rookie tackle who hasn't done it, and he didn't really do it in college either. Is that kind of I don't know. It's different for different people, but what was it like for him?
I think that'd be a good question for him. I'd say just watch him. Look, he plays with a play style that we covet. I think he's tough. He's aggressive. Look, there were plays that we all wish we had back, and that always starts with me. But for a young player, again, credit Brandon and Joe and the rest of those guys upstairs that do all that scouting, our scouts. That's why we place a premium on intelligence, Nick, is, to be able to do those things when we need them to be done. There's most of our linemen, I'd say our receivers, our running backs can play multiple roles and learn different things. So it's, we place a premium on that, and he has the qualities that, he's able to do that.
Yeah, I was really kind of more referring to just the mechanical aspect of, the mirror part of it, putting the left hand on the ground. It can be a lot tougher. It's something he kind of had to do there. He was trying to get on the fly. But I also want to ask about your running backs. And there have been periods of times where, each of your backs have been kind of used more than others. And it looks like Devin is being used more now. And I know a lot goes into it. It's not just, how well they run. It's everything else. It's pass protection. It's how much progress has he made in those other areas, especially pass protection with Devin? With
Motor? Yeah, I think he's done a really good job improving each year, Nick. We play obviously we do a lot in practice in terms of improving fundamentals. So the pass protection work and the technique of fitting up into the gaps, and he's not the biggest guy, but he usually has pretty good leverage, and he usually plays with strong inside leverage on it. He's done a good job. Protection is a little bit more difficult, I'd say, from going from college into the pros and learning all the nuances of that, and the different read keys that he has to look at to do his job. And he's done a good job really improving since he's been here. We have faith and confidence in him that, again, you got to be smart back there. And there's a lot of different moving parts, that these defenses give you nowadays. So you better know who to block first, because that's the most important, and be able to go out there technically and do it with good power and strength and leverage. And he's improved in that area.
Thanks.
You got it.
Hey, Brian, it's Jay. How you doing?
Hey, Jay.
Hey, I know you had a couple yesterday to start the game, but overall, in general, how would you say the offense has done this season in avoiding 3-and-outs?
I don't know. You guys would know better than me in terms of the stats and numbers. Look, when you get behind the 8 ball, really in any drive, that's when it's a lot more difficult. Percentages go down. We just try to do our job and move the football and do what we can to score points, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's the job of an offense, is to score points. So I don't know where the numbers are relative to last year or what it is. But if you're executing your plays, and it's not always going to be perfect. I mean, you're going to have some challenging plays, to have successful drives, unless you hit a real big one, and that improves the percentage of scoring football. But our guys have done a good job for the most part of executing their plays and, working together to try to move the ball down.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at is that it's not realistic to think that every drive is going to end in points, right? That's just reality. But, being able to pick up a first down, on a possession, in terms of what that means for flipping field possession, can be big for the entire team for, setting your defense up in a better position at times, right?
No doubt. Absolutely. Look, like you said, it's not realistic. Your goal is to score. Scoring 30 points in an NFL game is not easy. We've had some of those. We've had some where we didn't score as much, but obviously moving the ball, anytime you can move the ball, that's going to help your football team, obviously. Whether that is a flip field position or move the ball and score points, it's a critical aspect of the game.